Welcome back. We are going to continue our Lunar New Year celebration by showing you how to make another good luck recipe for the new year. So we've mentioned that dumplings are traditionally good luck because they're little packets and they look like little bags of money or gold, and plus they're filled with goodies. So they're good luck. And we are going to make boiled dumplings today. They're called Jiaozi, and we're going to put in some shrimp, which is also good luck because shrimp in Chinese is pronounced ha, and ha sounds like the first syllable of laughter. So shrimp, laughter, good luck, dumplings, good luck. So let's get started. We're going to make these from scratch, and we're going to start by making the dough, and we're going to use a food processor here, and we've got some all-purpose flour, and believe it or not, you don't have to measure so much. A cup of flour is going to make a dozen or 15 dumplings. But what really matters is the texture of the dough. And the texture that you're going to be looking for is uncooked couscous. So let's do that. Now this dough is called a boiled dough. We're going to boil it, but more importantly, we're going to use boiling water as we make the dough. And what that will do is it will very quickly soften the dough and it'll form gluten. So we'll be able to work with it almost immediately. So we'll get this ready to roll. I've got some boiling water right here. We're going to start this, and the key is not to add too much too quickly. If it forms a ball, I'm going to have to add more flour. But I'm going to go really slowly. And I'm going to add probably a quarter of a cup at the most. And as I get closer to that quarter cup, I'm going to start slowing down how I add this. And then I'm going to switch to probably about a tablespoon at a time. And we're going to take a look here. So if you look in here, I'll pull this out. This is nice and warm. You'll see that the dough is little pellets, a little crumbly. But if I reach in carefully, I don't want to cut myself, and I actually squeeze, the dough will form just like that. So I was lucky. I ended up pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. So as I said, if it forms a ball as you're processing it, it's too wet. And then if I grab it and I'm not able to form this dough, if it cracks when I try to flatten it out, that means it's too dry. And I probably want to add, maybe a half a teaspoon of that boiling water. There we go. So here's our dough. And I'm going to let this sit for just a few minutes. I could roll it out right now, but I'm going to prepare my filling as I let this kind of rest up. And I'm going to cover it so it doesn't dry out because it's exactly the right consistency now. So you can see that was pretty quick. We could have done that by hand, but we'd be kind of kneading for another 20 minutes or so if we did that. So this is a really quick shortcut. The next thing I'm going to do is make the filling. And as I mentioned, we're going to do some shrimp. And I'm going to do equal parts of shrimp and meat. And in this case, I have ground turkey, but traditional is pork. And what we want is we want to add a little bit of fat to this because fat is flavor and taste. And we're going to add some more flavor in here by adding some garlic, fresh garlic. And what we like to do with our cleaver is just take the side of our cleaver and just smash that just like that. We'll put that right in. We'll grab some fresh ginger and we'll cut that so that the grain is short. And we'll just punch those up as well. I'm going to add some mushroom, some umami flavor right in there, and some shredded cabbage. And I'm going to use some coleslaw, so that'll kind of save me a step there, but we'll put some coleslaw in there, maybe a little bit more. And the last secret flavoring I'm going to add, it's not secret, is I'm going to add Jiaozi sauce, which is a sweet barbecue sauce. Now I'm going to put in maybe a tablespoon here. So you can see it's quite thick. Tastes great. So all told, this is going to be probably, a half a cup of filling once I've done that. And now I'm going to get my cover, which I put here. There we go. This is fun. It's a new toy. Okay, and I'm just going to give this a few pulls. And there it is. We've got our filling ready to go. So let's roll out our dough. Here's the dough. And again, I've got a fun little machine just to make life a little easier. Pasta rolling machine. And we'll start with the thick setting. And what's nice about the pasta machine is you can actually use the pasta machine to finish kneading your dough. Because the rollers, they exert hundreds of pounds of pressure, which is great. So, there. And we're going to get this very quickly to the thinnest setting. So we want to make this really nice thin dough. But you can see it doesn't take long with that, with the boiling. That really does a really good job of having that gluten form. And just by folding that dough, it really does a really good job of aligning the gluten. You can kind of see the grain being formed there. So we are ready to roll out our wrappers. I'll just use this biscuit cutter. Now you can go out and you can buy ready-made wrappers, but you can see this is pretty fast. What I'll do is I'll cut these out, and what I can do is I can recycle this back in. There. So these are wrappers. Those are what? Those are maybe 2.5, 3-inch wrappers, and you can make different size ones if you like. So here we go. What we're going to do is get a knife here. Gives me the ability to do some portion control. So I'm going to paint around the perimeter. That's glue. And I'm going to put in, you want to make sure you don't fill this too much. So put in about a teaspoon of filling right in the center. And what we'll do is we're going to make 4 pleats. And we're going to have those pleats overlap one another. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got 4 pleats. I've used my thumb to push that in, and then we'll bring that right up. We've got this cute little dumpling. Let's do that again. Put in a teaspoon or so right in the center. Let's paint around the edge. There we go. 4 pleats. Right on top of one another. 2, 3, 4. And then close it up. There we go. You know, and you can do this in any order. You paint around the edge there. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to, you know, lay out 30 or 40 of these and then try to do it mass production, because what will happen is the dough will dry out, and once it dries out, it'll crack. You won't be able to make the dumplings as easy. So while I was doing this, I've already started my water boiling. So in order to boil these, you want to make sure that the water is at a pretty vigorous boil, because once you drop these in, they will tend to drop the temperature of the water. So you don't want to do that. And I've made some in advance, so we'll have plenty. Here's our water over here, boiling vigorously. And I'm going to pretty heavily salt this water, and this is for flavor. I probably put in a tablespoon of salt into maybe a quart of water there. Now, you can make a lot of these at a time, and what you want to do is the ones that you're not going to eat right away, you'll throw them into the freezer, and then once they're frozen, you just put them into a plastic bag, and then sometime when you want a quick snack, just boil up some water, and you can just put these right in. There we go. These are heavier. The dough is heavier than wontons. Just if people are wondering, but you could make these into soup. You could boil, instead of water, you could boil up some broth, and you could do the same thing. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you put these in one at a time, so that they're not touching when they go in. And we'll put these guys in too. There we go. All right, and these will cook in about 2 minutes. So we'll let those. So you want to make sure that they're boiling. So that was a rolling boil in the salted water. So let's make a really quick and easy dipping sauce. I'll show you a really. You may or may not have these things around, but this will be a 3-ingredient dipping sauce, and it's going to be sweet, sour, and spicy with a little bit of salt. So my first ingredient is this glaze. It's a balsamic glaze, and you can get that right in the, with the salad dressings and things like that. Basically, it's balsamic vinegar that has been boiled, and a little bit of sugar has been added to it, but it's quite thick. So I would say equal amounts, of balsamic glaze, soy sauce. So here we go. And this is the spicy sweet chili sauce. It's sometimes called Thai hot and sour chili, hot and sweet rather. And I'll add the same amount there. All right. Other things you could add, ketchup actually is something you could add here. Believe it or not, ketchup is Chinese in origin. There you go. You can look it up if you don't believe me. So we'll just mix that up. And I think I've been talking for 2 minutes. So let's pull these guys out and have a taste. All right. Slotted spoon works. So let me turn the heat down. Yum. So let's have a taste. So I like to cover those. They can be a little bit slippery. There we go. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year, and we'll see you again.